Hi, this stuff is dangerous. This stuff is the most significant geohazard in the UK. This stuff kills more people than mass movements, earthquakes, uh, all put together. Um, this stuff kills more people in the UK than mass movements, earthquakes, sinkholes, all put together. It's radon gas, and we need to understand it. We need to understand how this material is formed, how it moves, where it accumulates, and what we can do about it. Okay, let's go. Just to show you how important this is um, some of the leading causes of premature deaths in this country. You can see that uh, lung cancer caused by uh, radon accumulating in people's homes is responsible for about 1,000 deaths a year. That's more than twice as many as are caused by drink driving. 3 or 4 times the number of people killed at work. Now, admittedly, this is significantly less than, for example, those people who die from lung cancer caused by smoking. But in terms of geohazards, this is the big one. Yet, it's one that many people across the UK are really unaware of. The cause of uh, radon gas, or the source of it, is as a product of radioactive decay. Where we have uranium in a rock, clearly radioactive, that will break down to form radium. There's a subsequent radioactive breakdown then, which will release or have as a byproduct radon gas. Now, radon gas is one of the noble gases, but it can still cause problems when it starts to accumulate in people's houses or other buildings over a long period of time. It's not the case that breathing in radon for a few moments is going to kill you. This is the result of long-term exposure from large accumulations of radon. So, for example, being out and about in a radon or high radon gas area won't have any effect on you. This is where it can accumulate, so it's within buildings, and where people are exposed over a long period of time. So particularly people's homes. If we look at how this stuff moves, it's a gas, so it will rise. It will also dissolve into groundwater and will flow with groundwater through permeable rocks and will be released from that groundwater, perhaps where there's a change in pressure. So this stuff will migrate, and it will keep migrating either until it's vented to the atmosphere harmlessly, or if it can start to build up within some type of confining structure, like I say, particularly people's homes. So we see radon gas working up from the geology. If it escapes the atmosphere, it's really not a problem. However, if this radon gas is getting into water, if there's a groundwater supply to the house or a well, it can get through cracks in foundations, in basements in particular, places where pipes enter or leave the buildings can be a a pathway for this stuff getting in, and it will trap this gas within the house. Now, radon, is, you can't see it, you can't taste it, you can't smell it. It will just accumulate. There are detectors that you can buy and use to monitor the amount of radon in your house, but it's not that easy to get rid of. You can't, for example, just open a window and it'll magically disappear. If we look at where this stuff occurs, this is a Radon Hazard Map for England and Wales. The darker areas of shading are the higher risk areas. This is where the darkest shade here represents where you have more than 30% of people's homes that need something doing to them to mitigate for radon. Now this, if we superimpose a geological map of the UK on top, we can see that there's a very, very strong geological control on where the high risk areas are. And there are some common features of some of these high risk areas. So for example, places where you have high permeability rocks, like the Jurassic or Carboniferous limestones, with sources of uranium, perhaps igneous rocks deep below these rocks provide a pathway. On the west here we can see where we have got igneous rocks. The Caledonian igneous rocks, for example, of Wales, will be a source of radon gas. In particular, the Variscan granites down in the southwest, in Devon and Cornwall, create the biggest hotspot for radon gas because of their uranium content. So, the geology clearly has an effect. If we remove the geological map, we can see these particular locations creating these hotspots. So, what can we do about it? This is a fairly typical radon mitigation system. So, in a high risk area, these are the type of things that need to be installed in people's houses. Starting from the foundations, an impermeable membrane, a gas-proof membrane built into the foundation to prevent radon gas seeping into the bottom of the house. Easy to do on a new build, much harder to do with an older property. And the entry points, therefore, for pipes or cables coming into the property below ground need to be thoroughly sealed. An exhaust pipe to take radon from the lower parts of the building and vent it out to the atmosphere. Now, it's not enough just to have a pipe. This pipe needs to be driven. There needs to be a flow of air created within this. So it needs to have a fan to push air out of the building. Again, this is relatively easy to install in a new build house, harder in an old one. And also a system failure warning device to monitor the amount of radon and also the efficiency of the whole system. This is what a retrofit of this can look like, where this has been installed from a basement, the fan moving air through the system to remove that radon gas, and the pipe then going down into the basement to take that radon gas out from where it's going to accumulate. So, as we see sunset over a granite tour down in Cornwall, and conclusions in Cornish, of course, radon gas is the silent unknown geohazard within the UK. It is possible to mitigate against it. It is possible to prevent these problems happening and to do something about those 1,000 deaths a year from long-term exposure to radon. However, all of the things we've looked at are expensive, particularly so for older properties. And if you think about older properties, for example, down in Devon and Cornwall, there's a good chance they're going to actually be built from granite. All of this costs money, and persuading people to pay possibly a significant amount of money to retrofit a property against a hazard that they can't see, smell, taste, or perhaps even properly understand is a challenge. However, this is a thing. It is something that does threaten people's health and people's lives. What do you think the best way of dealing with this, in particular, in dealing with people's attitudes, might be? What we need to do now is have a go at some questions based on these ideas. But that's for another video. I'll see you then.